King.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Well, Sam Lottoinger said that the opposition has been shouting and screaming to be heard. Well, yes, we have. And I'll tell you why, because no one over there is listening. No one over there has had their ears opened to anything that has been said by the opposition side of the House today. And when I heard Tim McIntyre, I've got one question for Tim McIntyre. Did he tell his constituents, his elderly constituents before the election, that he intended through his government to change the asset testing regime? Did he tell his constituents? Well, I know what the answer is. The answer is a big fat no. He did not tell his constituents. And I have to say, Mr. Speaker, his cabinet didn't tell him either. This backbench did not know that they were going to bring this measure in, so I feel sorry for the suckers. They didn't know that they were going to bring in this measure till they trooped into the caucus room yesterday. They sat down and Bill English proudly held up his budget and he said, by the way, we're going to introduce a little bill, just a few minor technical amendments, and we're going to change the asset testing regime, and you sit on your chuffs in the House and say nothing, because that's what your job is. You're the suckers for our policy. That's what happened. I know that's what happened. And I have to say that that's pretty blimmin' poor for the older people of New Zealand. You see, Tim McIntyre said we all have to make sacrifices. Well, isn't it interesting? They're going to take 4.5 million off the poor old people who spend on average 18 months in a rest home. But guess how much is going into VIP limos? Guess how much is going into VIP limos? $8.2 million for the big limos. So I'm going to say they're taking the money off the old people so they can have their BMWs. That's what it means. Take off the old people so they can pay their $8.2 million for their limousines to drive around in. There is one word for this cabinet, and I'm not going to include the backbenchers because they didn't know about this bill. There is one word for this cabinet: arrogant. What an arrogant cabinet. And you know, during the committee stage of this bill, Mr. Speaker, would those arrogant ministers stand up and defend this bill? No, they would not. They sat on their behinds in this House and wouldn't say a word. What do they earn their money doing? I'm sure that Tohinare, when he was a minister, would have been on his feet. He wouldn't be able to resist it. But did we hear from Paula Bennett? Did we hear from Nathan Guy? No, they sat there with their heads down. They couldn't defend this measure. And why couldn't they defend it? Because they consulted with nobody, and it was a sneaky, secret little deal. A secret deal done in the cabinet that didn't even include their backbench colleagues. They said they consulted on Tony Ryle. Oh, we consulted on this bill. You know what? They consulted on this bill about the same time they told the backbench yesterday. Is that consultation? Does that constitute as consultation? You ring up Aged Concern and Grey Pound and say, by the way, we're going to change the asset testing regime in the budget in half an hour. Is that consultation? No, it is not. It is arrogance. That is what it is. And the minister said, when she did finally speak in the third reading from a well-prepared 2-minute speech, that this was a responsible framework. She said, the facts are that it was a good deal. It's a good deal for whom? It's certainly not a good deal for older New Zealanders. And she said it's a priority for this government. When did it become a priority for this government to change a regime that has been in place almost 10 years, that older New Zealanders and people who are moving into the years where they need rest home care were relying on? They had no idea that something that had been on the books for 10 years was going to be changed at a swipe of a pen under urgency and through a very secret, sneaky little deal done in the cabinet. Shame. It is shameful. It is very shameful indeed. So this this isn't a priority for this government is nothing but meanness, and I think that they ought to be ashamed of themselves. $4.5 million they take off the most vulnerable. And then they told us that they were doing it so the older people could have certainty. Well, do you know what, Mr. Speaker? They had certainty. They had certainty of a 10-year-old policy that the National Party did not change in the first 4 years they were in government. Never mentioned it, never changed it, never said they'd change it. They had certainty for 10 years, and then at the drop of a hat, they changed the policy. They changed it for $4.5 billion. OK, to spend $8.2 million on limos, but you can't spend $4.5 million on the most vulnerable in our society. I have to say, it is the beginning of the end for older people in New Zealand under a national government. I've seen it all before. Bill English in 1998 said that he would not get rid of asset testing, although he promised in a coalition deal with New Zealand First that he would. He washed on the deal under National, and they refused to get rid of asset testing. They have in this budget frozen the rates rebate scheme. No more money in the rates rebate scheme. Another kick in the guts for older New Zealanders, and there's no money to promote the rate rebate scheme. So don't tell them there might be a little bit of help for them. The way you reduce expenditure is to never tell them that they're entitled to it. That is the way that this arrogant government is carrying on. I have to say I like the analogy from Ruth Dyson, where she said they were putting their hands in the dressing gowns of older New Zealanders and performing the old loaves and fishes by taking it off the old people, $4.5 billion, and then claiming somehow they were putting so much more money into residential care and home care. Well, for those members over there who obviously know nothing, there is no extra money for those people who are in home care. There is no extra money for those in residential care. The money merely covers the increase of people going into rest home, and it merely covers the number of people who need home care. So the members over there might like to have the wool pulled over their eyes, but I can tell you something I know about older New Zealanders. They don't. They don't. And I'd say the members, when they sulk home out of this house, are going to face some older people who say, you could have changed it. You could have asked us, though. You could have consulted us. You could have said, is there another way to do it? But no, you kept it secret. And they will remember this is an arrogant, sneaky government that when there's urgency will do what they can to undermine the most vulnerable in New Zealand. Well, good luck to you, because I can tell you they won't forget it.
Order. I'm calling Dr. Cam Coulter.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I think it's about time